Korriban, cradle of ash, tomb of beginnings. A planet carved from fire and ruin, where survival itself was a form of worship. The very air was poison to the unworthy, the soil drank the weak, and the suns above burned with merciless indifference. Here, the Sith, a red-skinned alien race, were born. Not as conquerors, not as zealots, but as survivors of a world that demanded strength or offered extinction. They would become the first Force-sensitive race that had a symbiotic relationship with the dark side, but for every 100 births, perhaps 10 lived long enough to walk beneath Korriban's blood-red skies. Fewer still reached adulthood. Life here was not a gift, it was a trial, and every heartbeat was earned. It is whispered among ancient holocrons that Korriban's brutality was not chance. The midi-chlorians, microscopic symbiotes that dwell within all living cells, shaped this world as an experiment, their unseen design written into every grain of sand. They forged the Sith in flame and storm, testing the limits of flesh and spirit alike. To the midi-chlorians, life and death were not opposites, but partners, eternal dancers in the cosmic rhythm. Destruction fed creation, decay birthed renewal, and through suffering came strength. The Sith, born of endless struggle, became the purest expression of that truth. In time, they would learn to listen, to feel the whisper of the Force that changed the galaxies themselves. Yet even in those first breaths of understanding, there lingered a question that echoed across eternity. Was the dark born of the light, or was the light merely the shadow of the dark? In the age when Korriban still wept fire, when blood ran thicker than water and survival was a creed, there was born a child, unlike any other. Hakagram Grouch, the king of the Sith. His birth was heralded not by prophecy, but by silence, the stillness before a storm. The sands ceased their screaming winds, and the twin suns dimmed, as if the world itself paused to witness the arrival of one destined to command its fury. Hakagram's rise defied every law that bound his people. He was not born of noble blood. He did not possess a high count of midi-chlorians, nor was he the strongest and largest of his kin. Yet, within him, the Force flowed with a purity unmeasured, not drawn from the midi-chlorians, but saw through them, as though he communed directly with the Source itself. Where others strained to use the Force, Hakagram became it. He listened not to the whispers of the unseen symbiotes, but to the voice beyond them, the heartbeat of the cosmos. In time, his mastery would grow to legend, making Darth Vader's power look like child's play. He could still the breath of the dying, return the spark of life to the dead. Long before the name Darth Plagueis was ever uttered, Hakagram Grouch walked the path of immortality and even shielded his powers from any Force-sensitive user. The Sith followed him not out of fear, but revelation, for through him they glimpsed what the Force truly was. Not a tool to be wielded, but a will to be understood. And so the legend of Korriban's greatest son was carved into stone and blood, the King of Ashes, who defied the limits of life and death and showed the galaxy what true power meant. The Force does not serve, he once said. It remembers, and I am its memory. Those who survived beneath the reign of Hakagram Grouch became something more than Sith. They became vessels of his vision. He did not teach the Force as a discipline of control, but as a revelation of existence itself. To know the Force, he said, one must surrender to it completely, until flesh, thought, and spirit were one current moving with the universe's will. Yet, under his rule, survival remained the only law. Training in his armies was an ordeal of agony, a crucible that stripped away weakness, mercy, and doubt. Thousands perished in the sands of Korriban's bloodfields, their corpses buried beneath the stones that bore the king's name. But those few who endured emerged as living weapons, masters of body and force intertwined. Their strikes could shatter bone and armor alike, each blow guided by the current of the dark. They were fear made flesh. Hakagram himself rejected all forged weapons. "The saber is a crutch," he said. "Steel dulls. Flesh remembers." He wielded only his body and the force that flowed through it. He would even laughed at any wielding the iconic lightsaber. His version of Force Choke could crush a warrior's throat instantly. There was no restraint, no warning, only death. He was the first to call lightning from the heavens, drawing the fury of Korriban's eternal storms into his hands. Blue fire danced across his arms as he unleashed destruction upon those who defied his will. Tribes that refused his rule, Jedi explorers foolish enough to set foot on his world, and later, pretenders who later on dared to name themselves Sith Lords. Where Darth Sidious would one day have perfect control of the dark side, Hakagram embodied purity, unrefined, overwhelming, unstoppable. He was the storm before the Empire, the raw essence of the dark side before it was bound by rules and rituals. And though his empire was born in blood, his purpose was never conquest, it was transcendence. He believed that through pain, struggle, and death, the Force revealed its truest face. "Do not seek to master the Force," the king once told his followers. "Become its rage, become its sorrow, become its storm." Join us on the next chapter of the rise of the Sith King and his influence on dark side users and his conflicts with Yoda's race and the Mandalorians. The king would even kill powerful dark side users in his path to transcendence. Many believe that most all Sith Lords learned from his teachings. Share, like, comment, and subscribe for more content.